minutes past the hour. It's a Friday morning edition of Catholic Connection, coast to coast and around the globe through EWTN Global Catholic Radio. And we are global, and we look at things not only on the national perspective, but the global perspective. And we try to talk to as many people as possible who can give us some really different ideas and understanding of what happens around the world and what we are to do as Catholics to address certain issues and problems. And this is what we're going to talk about with Father Gérard Lagleder. He's the founder and president of the largest Catholic relief organization in South Africa called the Brotherhood of Blessed Gérard. And we received this idea through our good friend Tom Price from EWTN Radio, of course, down in Birmingham. And as Brian Patrick mentioned at the top of the show, he's already spoken with Father Gérard and said his story was so powerful that we wanted to bring him back on in this particular program, Catholic Connection, so even more people could hear about it. Father, good morning.
Good morning to you.
What time is it there in South Africa?
Well, we have 16:40 now, which is 20 to 5 p.m.
Okay, so it's about almost dinner time there for you. Talk to us about about your brotherhood. What do you do there, and why did you start this particular relief organization?
That is actually a long story. The whole thing started with me becoming a parish priest in an area with a large slum, in an area where there are hundreds of thousands of poor people. And as a Catholic priest, I can't just stand there and preach from the pulpit, but we must preach the gospel in deeds, in action. And what I wanted to do is to actually found an organization of self-help, meaning to empower the local people to help themselves, so that the relief for Africa would not be a satellite project done by Europe or done by America, but it would be a genuine African thing. And therefore I tried to get people locally to empower them to help themselves in this organization. And so it is already 18 years ago that we founded this organization. And unfortunately, we are in an area which is extremely hard hit by the AIDS wave, which we actually call a pandemic in our area, and we had to become active, and we actually have become active. We do lots of projects, but I suppose that will be one of your next questions.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about in terms of the AIDS crisis. How do you work with the people in that area of the world?
Yeah, we are running actually quite an amount of projects. The largest project which we are running is actually a hospice. The whole thing started off by looking after AIDS patients as they were dying. You must know that we are in an area where 76% of the HIV tests are positive. The whole country is around about 1/3 HIV positive. The province of KwaZulu-Natal, it's around about 2/3 of the population. And then in our country, South Africa, there are what we call pockets of high infection rate. And Mandini is known as the AIDS capital of the world with 76% of HIV-positive people. So we have people dying from AIDS at a rate which is unprecedented. And the Catholic Church can't just look, we had to act. And so we started this hospice. The hospice was already started in 1996, but at the beginning all we could do is to enable the people to have a dignified death, to have a death where the people are in a proper bed, where people are getting proper medical care, where people get proper palliative care. That means that they don't have to die without the medication, that they can die without pain, but also from our Catholic perspective to have holistic care, which means that we give them the care of the Church, that people get the pastoral care which they are entitled to, and that the patient is seen as an individual which has needs of the body, of the mind, and of the soul, and all those needs are being addressed. Later on, we started our AIDS treatment program, which we call HEART programs, which stands for Highly Active Antiretroviral Treatment. We did that long before our own government would even acknowledge that AIDS is a problem in our country. And we were actually even helping our own government to set up their own program in AIDS treatment, and that has now actually overtaken all our other efforts, which means there's such a high demand of AIDS treatment. And we are part of the AIDS treatment program of the South African Catholic Bishops' Conference, which does the largest AIDS treatment program worldwide.
Oh, Father, it sounds like your work is similar to the beautiful work of Blessed Mother Teresa of Calcutta, where, even though people were dying, she took them in and treated the whole person and did whatever she could for them, and because of the dignity of the human person, because she saw Christ in everyone. What is it like for you to do such hands-on work in such a destitute area?
Well, I suppose it is a personal vocation, and it's not a question, it's just a thing which we must do, and it is, let me say, the second nature of, should be the second nature of any Christian, that you can't just see Jesus Christ suffering, carrying his cross on his own on the way of the cross, but that you go there and say, excuse me, Jesus, I think you need some help. And we cannot just close our eyes when we see Jesus Christ suffering in our brothers and sisters here in South Africa, dying from AIDS. The Church has to become active, and we are proud that the Church is the largest provider of non-governmental AIDS care, I think even worldwide, but at least in South Africa.
Well, let's talk about the Church's role here, because as you know, Father, and you and I were talking during the commercial break about the problem out there with, for example, the world thinks that the Church is being mean when the Church isn't providing condoms, for people in Africa. They think, of course, that's the easiest answer. And yet in the areas of Africa, and I know you know this, but just to let our listeners know, if they're not aware, that in the area of, in Africa where they have embraced Church teaching regarding abstinence and, providing help and education in terms of, fidelity and things like that, the AIDS rate has actually gone down. There's been some improvement there. And yet in the countries where they keep throwing things such as, condoms and other types of birth control at people, it doesn't help the situation. So what's it like for you, whereas you said the Church is doing the lion's share of the work here, and yet, those in the secular world and the culture are saying, oh, the Church is approaching this, incorrectly?
Yeah, I think the problem is that for prevention, it is, excuse me to say so, it's too late. We have to prevent further infections, but we have the people dying already, which means if we have 3/4 of the population in our particular era HIV positive, we have to do something now and we have to treat the people. On the other hand, I'm so happy that even our government now realizes that abstinence is actually the first choice. And the big problem is the whole campaign about condoms doesn't really help because the local people absolutely refuse to take a condom. So if you just go there and distribute condoms in the bush, people won't take them. And that is the big problem because the people want to show off that they can father as many children as possible. So the condom approach alone does not help. What we have to do is to change the mind of people and not just consider people like an animal which can't control its bodily urges, but to teach people that there is a responsibility for the actions they do. And therefore I'm so happy that the Church campaign of telling people the only thing which really helps you 100% is abstinence actually does help, and that we do get through to people. And secondly, we have to offer them a hand when it's too late already, in the sense of of people being already HIV positive and giving them the treatment, and of course tell them how to behave to also avoid secondary infection, which means to pass the infection on to other people.
If you're just joining us this morning on Catholic Connection Coast to Coast, we're talking with Father Gérard Lagleder, and he is with the Brotherhood of Blessed Gérard, named after Blessed Gérard, the founder of the Order of Malta. So are you doing work through the Order of Malta? Are they helping you with this project as well?
yes, the Order of Malta is helping us in so far that they give us lots of moral support. There are certain branches of the Order of Malta which support us also financially, but we have to do our own fundraising. We are proud to be part of the Order of Malta, but it is not in that sense that being part of the Order of Malta would fill our coffers with lots of money, but in the contrary, it is a program, and this program is a call to get active. And as I said, we have to do our own fundraising, which we are doing.
What keeps you going every day? Because it has to be pretty daunting, the task that lays before you every time you get up in the morning.
It actually is. Of course, I have to be honest, and I don't say that because I'm a Catholic priest, that my faith keeps me going. And apart from my faith, which keeps me going, it is also to see that we really can make a difference in the life of people. You know, when you go out into the bush, when you see the people there, and a big problem with the people we are dealing with is that many people think that sickness, including HIV/AIDS, is caused by evil spirits. And now, if somebody would look after a sick person, they are afraid that the evil spirits would punish them for interfering in their business of making people miserable, and therefore many people don't dare to do anything for a sick person. And this is the kind of attitudes, the kind of thinking of people which we are fighting. And when we now see that the people come into our hospice, or that the people from our hospice in our outreach program, in our home care program, are really being helped, and that the people are so much better, and that people are looked after in a proper way, that gives us lots of strength. And when a person can die in dignity, or when a person gets the proper treatment, which otherwise they would not get, this is also a big support and a big moral help for our work, which gives us the strength to carry on day by day. But I must go back to where I started. All what we do is out of the grace of God, and if we wouldn't have our faith, I don't think we could do anything.
How much of your work, and obviously you're meeting the spiritual and the physical needs of the people, how much of the work, and considering you said that many of the people there are dealing with a lot of other, probably a combination of different types of religions, how much of the work is, Christianity and teaching them about Jesus?
Well, teaching about Jesus happens in different ways. There is one way that you preach from the pulpit. The other way is that you teach children catechism, and another way is that you teach through action. Mm-hmm. And this is what we are aiming at, that people see the Catholic Church is the one, although we are only 5 to 8% countrywide, that the Catholic Church is actually the one which does the most in AIDS work. Everybody else is making big noise, and but the actions are missing. Please, I'm not running down other churches, but I'm really proud that the Catholic Church is not just talking, but putting the actions there where the heart is, and being really active in the AIDS work. And that is, of course, a thing where we are preaching through our actions, that people say, look at those Catholics, they don't just talk, they are actually putting their faith into action. And this is, I think, another way of preaching.
Father, how can our listeners help you in your mission there?
Well, we need lots of help. The first help we need, and I am absolutely honest about that is prayer. We do ask people to support us through their prayer, that the good Lord will give us all the support that we need to do our work. The second support we need, thank God South Africa is a civilized country, and you can get anything and everything what you can pay for. Therefore, the second thing what we need is financial support, so that we can pay for the cost of our help, because unfortunately most of our patients don't even know how to spell medical aid or medical insurance, and most of them don't have it at all, and therefore we cannot charge our patients. What we are helping is what is always called the poorest of the poor, which means those people who don't have 1 cent to themselves, and we have to finance all our work through fundraising, and this is the support which we really need.
So what is the best way, Father, to find out about your ministry? Do you have a website or a blog?
Yes, we do. Our website is www.bbg, B for Bravo, another B for Bravo, G for Golf, .org.za. Okay, so www.bbg.org.za.
Okay.
That is quite an extensive webpage which gives you information of all what we are and what we do and how you can help us as well.
Father, thank you so much, and God bless you for all the amazing work you're doing there in South Africa. We'll pray for you for continued strength and guidance in working with those who just need so much help in so many of our prayers. Thanks so much. God bless you.
I thank you so much as well, and God may bless you too and all your listeners.
All right. Thanks, Father. Appreciate it. Father Gérard, actually with this beautiful ministry, he's a founder of the Brotherhood of Blessed Gérard, which is named after the founder of the Order of Malta. He actually was running the largest relief organization in South Africa there, and what an amazing ministry he has, and a story of really, really helping those of the least of these. Thanks so much for tuning in on a Friday morning, and so much to talk about today. And we'll be back on Monday with some follow-up, positive fallout, I'm sure, from the Tim Tebow ad. Let's pray that whoever sees that ad this Sunday will maybe have a different idea of what the pro-life movement and what really, really pro-life is all about. I'm off to Oklahoma. Pray for me and the ladies at the big conference, and we'll talk to you on a Monday morning. Have a great weekend.